Sylvan Adams, the president of the World Jewish Congress for Israel.
So the Qataris, who have basically unlimited funds, started about 25 years ago with the creation of Al Jazeera, and they've invested $1 trillion in this campaign, infiltrating Western institutions. We were still counting our dead, and we saw demonstrations which were not grassroots, which were not spontaneous. We saw demonstrations immediately on October the 8th.
What were they protesting on October 8th?
They were celebrating October the 7th. Political Islam that seeks world domination, that seeks to overthrow Western society. We in the West need to wake up, all of us, not just Israel. This is a clash of civilizations. They want to take away our freedoms. They want to impose Islamism and Islamic law across the West. The Qataris are the single largest foreign donor to American universities. For what reason? Is because they're interested in science and the humanities? No.
Why is it, Sylvan, that the Qataris hate you so much?
You asked the wrong question. Why do they hate you just as much?
My name is Stefan Tompson. I'm the founder of VCgrad24, and today I'm with Sylvan Adams, the president of the World Jewish Congress for Israel. Sylvan, one of the things that you're most outspoken about is the concerted PR attack on the state of Israel. Can you talk us through some of the main opponents that Israel is facing in the realm of PR?
So this is a campaign that has been in the making for 25 years. It's based on the principles of the Muslim Brotherhood, and it's led by Qatar, principally by Qatar. They have some help from some of their friends, which include Iran, and more recently from the Chinese. The Chinese don't have any beef per se with Israel or with Jews, but this is a way for them to create chaos and havoc in the West in their goal, overreaching goal to eventually dominate the world. The Muslim Brotherhood has exactly the same goal, so they are making common cause together. So the Qataris, who have basically unlimited funds, started about 25 years ago with the creation of Al Jazeera, their propaganda network, and they've invested $1 trillion in this campaign, infiltrating Western institutions and lying in wait. And the trigger for what we've seen in the last couple of years, since October the 7th, the trigger for these gigantic demonstrations was that Qatar finally thought, in the aftermath of October 7th, on October the 8th, in fact, while we were still counting our dead, before we had gone into Gaza, so this is a canard to suggest that it's because of anything Israel did. We were, as I said, we were still counting our dead, and we saw demonstrations which were not grassroots, which were not spontaneous. We saw demonstrations immediately on October the 8th.
We did.
On Harbour Bridge in Sydney.
Sure.
In
London.
Berlin. In my native Montreal.
Sure.
And we saw them in New York City protesting.
What were they protesting on October 8th?
Well, listen, they were protesting their
support, in fact, in some ways for Hamas.
Clearly, they were celebrating.
Because the Israelis hadn't responded, so
they were celebrating October the 7th. And as I said, it's like the Qataris flicked the switch on all of their operatives. They have paid operatives in all of the Western cities, multiple paid operatives, by the way, in the larger cities. And they flicked the switch on, thinking that we were defeated, we were demoralized. This was the time to finish us off once and for all. And they found out that we were not defeated. That we once we caught our breath, once we recovered from the shock and the barbarity of their massacre on October the 7th, that once the Israel Defense Forces pushed back. We taught Iran and all of their proxies a very severe lesson.
Why is it, Sylvan, that the Qataris hate you so much? We see enlightened leadership in some Gulf countries, specifically the United Arab Emirates, which has strong relations with Israel ever since the Abraham Accords. We've seen Bahrain normalize relations. We've seen Morocco normalize relations. It is possible for Israel to have normal relations with some of their neighbors, including with Jordan, for example. And the UAE is a shining light in terms of the normalization process and some integration and economic ties. Why is it that this country, Qatar, that is just next to the United Arab Emirates, just a few hundred kilometers away, has such a diametrically opposed stance towards the state of Israel and the Jewish people?
So firstly, you said, why do they hate us so much? You've asked the wrong question. Why do they hate you just as much?
Because I'm a kuffar.
They hate the West. Sure. They hate the West. So the Jews and Israel are just the front line for them. They represent the Muslim Brotherhood, a branch of political Islam that has been rejected by all of those other nations.
Correct. It has been banned and prescribed as a terrorist organization by vast amounts of majority Muslim countries who despise the activities of the Muslim Brotherhood and would like their countries to not turn into full-on Islamism.
Even
100%.
Including the Saudis, who once upon a time were also proponents of the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda and all of what it represented, but they've rejected that. So they are this political Islam that seeks world domination, that seeks to overthrow Western society. We in the West need to wake up, all of us, not just Israel, that understand that this is a clash of civilizations. This is really a different worldview. They want to take away our freedoms. They want to impose Islamism and Islamic law across the West, and to engage in world domination. By the way, they've made common cause with the Chinese. The Chinese don't really have any room for their political Islam, and they will find out that the Chinese will eat them up. Will eat them up.
And the Chinese are leading a very concerted effort at the Sinification of mosques and of Islam across China.
Yes.
So what are some concrete steps that Western countries can take to avoid the pitfalls and the dangers that the Qataris have set for us? How can we resist this?
So it's very difficult to resist it because they are literally bribing people.
Sure.
We've seen it on the left.
Yes.
We've seen it on the far left, the anarchists, the leftists who have joined the Islamists and made the red-green alliance, what they call the red-green alliance. But now we're seeing it also on the right.
Yes.
And if we say, for example, in the United States, where we've seen Tucker Carlson, who doesn't even apologize for being a Qatari agent, really. He's bought a home in Qatar. Now I've been to Doha. There's nothing to do in Doha. There's nothing for poor Tucker to do in Doha. I doubt he visits his home very much. So they have, as I said, they've infiltrated our institutions. They have paid operatives on all sides. They are very clever, but they are evil. And this is, as I said, a clash of civilizations. We need to first of all recognize it for what it is.
Yes.
We need to find ways of in legal means of resisting this bribery which is taking place, and finding legal means of calling out this behavior, which is unacceptable. It's a complete corruption of our societies, including electoral interference, including investment. The Qataris are the single largest foreign donor to American universities. For what reason? It's because they're interested in science and the humanities? No, it's because they are trying to corrupt from within
And
education
format the
system.
next generation.
Correct. And it's and now, having successfully infiltrated the universities, they've begun working on K to 12
Sure.
campaigns to start them when they're younger. And of course we know that in today's world that the younger cohort, perhaps yourself, more and more get their information from social media. So they've infiltrated TikTok. They've made common cause with the Chinese, as I said, and they're feeding an entire generation. And if we don't understand if we don't define it, if we don't see it for what it is, there's no way to push back.
Israel has survived despite being surrounded by Islamist enemies. And not just on its borders, but even further away, the Houthis in Yemen, the IRGC and the Ayatollah in Iran. And they've managed to have a strong civil society, above replacement demographics, a strong sense of culture and a pride in their identity. What can Western countries, especially Western Europe, learn from Israel?
So firstly, before I address that, I want to say the following. So we have, as I said, given we've pushed back on Iran and all of its proxies. You just gave a list of all of Iran's proxies. And we have basically defeated them in a 7-front war. But this campaign by the Muslim Brotherhood, by the Qataris and their friends, represents an 8th front. This is an 8th front, and it is also of strategic. It's a strategic threat, again, not only to the survival of Israel by trying to isolate us and ostracize us. And again, there's no difference between being anti-Israel and anti-Semitic when your obsession is with one conflict zone, one relatively minor conflict zone in the world, when we've seen
the massacres in Sudan, the massacres in Nigeria, the massacres in the Congo,
the massacres in Syria.
Of course,
500,000 Syrians perished at the hands of Assad. Or now the massacres in Iran, where they've
apparently allegedly up to 50,000 civilians in 2 weeks,
mowed down with machine guns.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I didn't see Greta Thunberg sending her flotilla over to Iran to make a statement on this. When your obsession is with one place in the Middle East, well, we know what that is. It has a name. It's the world's oldest hatred, anti-Semitism.
Sylvan, but what are some things that we can learn from Israel? What has Israel done right in their fight against jihadi Islam, which really Israel has been at the forefront of the fight against political Islam, in the forefront against terrorist Islamist organizations? What can we learn from what Israel has done?
I'm gonna actually answer you in the opposite manner. Mm-hmm. I think we failed. I think we've had a blind spot. We weren't able to realize that this threat, which has been building up for 25 years, as good as we were on the military side, as good as we were to anticipate and have really science fiction operations in
the pagers,
and what we had we had bases, forward bases inside Iran,
yes,
that we were able to, during the 12-day war to unleash. So as good as we've been there, that's as weak as we were in recognizing, by the way, myself included, in recognizing the fact that there has been this 25-year campaign, waiting lying in wait to have the switch flicked on at the moment of their choosing. So I think we've been very weak on the communication side. We're losing we've lost the communication war, honestly. Now, we can fight back. We have to fight back. But I don't think Israel has many lessons to give the West on this particular subject. I think we've failed terribly, and the fact that we've allowed them to take over the vocabulary, to erase history, we are the indigenous people of this land, and all of a sudden we are called colonists. They've got that completely opposite. How they can demonstrate in New York City, which the British and the Dutch colonized and tell us we've been here for 3,500 years, and yes, we had a 2,000, we were sovereign here until the Romans expelled us. The colonists, the colonizers, the Romans, followed by 2,000 years of additional colonizers, including the Muslims, because Islam was created in the 7th century. This is over 2,000 years after our presence here in the Middle East, and so the fact that we haven't been able to justify ourselves amongst these woke leftist protesters, and we've allowed political Islam to infect their understanding of the world, it's a terrible failure.
Are all the conspiracies about Israel being this many-armed octopus with operations everywhere, are all of these conspiracies true about Qatar? Are the stories that are spun about Israel, the fabrications of it running the world, is that actually true about the Qataris, Sylvan?
Well, if we were running the world, we're doing a pretty bad job of it. And even better, everyone understands that Israel has one of the best militaries in the world, if not the best military in the entire world. If we were conducting a campaign of genocide in Gaza, well, then we would be a pretty incompetent party, an incompetent military that wasn't able to complete our genocide in much quicker terms, like we've seen the Iranians do against their own people.
Sylvan Adams, World Jewish Congress.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated.
Thank you.